All right, I'm going to take about 10 minutes to talk about movement speed and the movement formula within Oblivion. So if you've ever gone to this page here on the wiki, this makes a lot of sense. Okay, to move as fast as possible, increase speed, increase athletics, wear no armor, and stay out of combat. If you read these formulas, what are we even looking at here? I think this is way confusing. There's so much information it's giving you, and it's too much. So what I did was I made a silly little chart here that I think is going to make things a lot easier. So let's just start with, we're going to say that we are a Altmer. We'll say we're a male Altmer, so 30 speed, and I don't think they have any bonus to athletics, so we're going to have 5 athletics. The way your movement speed works is your walk speed is equal to 90 plus 0.4 times your speed. So at 0 speed, it's 90. At 100 speed, it's 130. If you keep increasing your speed, every 100 speed, it's going to go up 40. Or another way to think about it is every 25 speed, it's going to go up 10. That's your base. So we're at 30 because we're an Ultimer. Your athletics, well, what that does is that changes your run speed, which at no athletics is exactly triple your walk speed. When you get to 100 athletics, it's quadruple your walk speed. So your speed changes your walk speed, and your run speed is a multiplier of your walk speed. So at no athletics, it's your speed times, or it's your walk times 3. At 100 athletics, it's your walk times 4. At 200, it's your walk times 5. 300, your walk times 6, and so on. So that's how movement speed in general works. We're going to start with 5. The races have big differences, as you can see here. This is with the same stats. So some differences between the sexes. I know I talked about my other video, Bosmer males are really bad, because look, a Bosmer starts with 50 speed, and you know what? They're going to pick the steed sign, and speed is their favorite attribute. So they got 75. Notice that's 329.4. Let's not forget that number. Let's go back to my base Altmer. Oops, not 300. 30. They're at 342. So 75 speed for a Bosmer is less than 30 speed for an Altmer by like more than 10 speed. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. That's why Bosmer suck. Here's just the different multipliers. So it's 0.9, 1, 1.03, 1.06, 1.1. I skipped the 0.95 on accident. There's 2 of those. It's 2 of the women, the Breton and the Khajiit. Whatever, not a big deal. Just pretend that there's another column in between these for female Breton and Khajiit. The other big modifier that I want to talk about today is encumbrance. And it's a huge deal. The lowest it can be is 0.6. That's the minimum. So what it does is it takes the weight of all your equipment that you have equipped. So that means your armor and your weapon. And it's different if your weapon is drawn or put away. This formula right here is for if your weapon, it's assuming your weapon is drawn. If it's put away, this would just be times 0.3. Not important. Honestly, I think your weapon's going to be drawn, and that's really what we care about. And if we get that weight at 0, the formulas are the same. So it doesn't matter. If your worn weight is 0, it doesn't matter if your weapon is drawn or put away. And you might say, well, how can my worn weight be 0 if I have a weapon drawn? Well, the answer is feather. If you have feather, it makes your equipment that you have equipped first weigh 0. So let's look at, this is why you move a lot faster in light armor. If you're wearing a full set of light armor, let's say 13.5, and you're wearing, we'll even say a Daedric dagger. These ranges are, the Daedric weapons are the heaviest. The iron are the lightest. So as the weapons get better, we can even look at that. As your weapons get better, except for fine, they weigh a lot more very quickly. So ebony is the next, glass, elven. As the damage goes up, your weight goes up. So we're saying Daedric dagger and fur armor. That's 23.5. Doesn't hurt your speed that much. Your multiplier is still moving at 93%. But if I'm wearing dwarven armor and I'm using a dwarven longsword, which is 32, 108 plus 32 is 140. Look at my speeds. The Bosmer is barely moving. And you can feel that. So even the Altmer is not moving very quick. And look at this. Even if we get these up, this is like the movement speed of the Altmer with like that I started with, right? Wasn't it 349? So at 150 speed and 30 athletics, without feather, I'm moving really slow. So again, feather's really good if you're wearing equipment because you can get this back to 0 and we're moving that fast. We're moving really fast. Because remember, this is what we started with. Yeah, 342. So 150 and 30 is slower than an Altmer, not even at max capacity there. I was faster at 30 speed. So this is why I say speed is not as good as people think it is. Speed does make you move faster, and speed is useful. You should like speed. It's a great thing because it increases your base walk. It's funny, at 150 they're equal to each other. That's not always going to happen. Remember, it's 90 plus 0.4 of your speed. So every 25 speed increases your speed by 10. Basically, every 2.5 speed increases your base walk by 1. Is another way to think about it. Let's look at some other weights. Obviously, Daedric armor. If you're wearing Daedric armor, you're done. But even glass. Glass is light armor. 40.5 plus 32 is 72.5. This is assuming we're just using a claymore, or sorry, a longsword. It's a one-handed weapon, so no shield here. And we're already at 80% encumbrance. So even if we're at 100 speed, we're still moving relatively slow. This wasn't much different than my starting point at 30 speed. So you really got to be using feather, even if you're wearing light armor. Honestly, and this is the reason I don't recommend light armor, you can just get feather for 200. And that's all the Daedric armor and a good longsword. It's really easy to cast. A custom spell costs feather, costs 40 mana, or maybe we'll say 41 mana at 33 alteration for 100 for 2 minutes. So you can cast that, just custom make 3 of those, cast 3 of them. Even at 95% spell efficiency, what is that? That's 190, that's 285. 285 easily. That covers Daedric armor with a Daedric Warhammer. You would have a 0 worn weight and be moving fast. The other thing I want to talk about is speed and athletics work together. So let's say we get our encumbrance to 0 and we're saying, okay, I want to go faster. Having a low athletics and a high speed isn't good, and having a high athletics and a low speed isn't good. You want to bump them up together because they kind of work off of each other. Remember, this is athletics works as a multiplier, speed works as a base. So when you can get them both up really high, you can start to move really fast. So if you have really high speed already, like maybe you're wearing enchanted gear, you have 100 speed, so your speed's at like 130 or something, and you only have 20 athletics because you just haven't been running that much. The spells for restoration cost about the same. The potions, you could buff them. A max level potion would buff either 145. And let's look. We're at just about 500 for an Altmer speed. If I buff this one by 45, I go up about 63. If I buff this by 45, I go up by 71. So that's about where it breaks even. So in general, oops, that was at 30. Clearly, I just was shown, you want to buff your speed before your athletics until your speed is really high and your athletics is really low. But athletics is only better when we're talking about differences this high. So I actually did not know that. I just learned something as making this video. This is just, I think this is a better explanation for the movement speed formula than this monstrosity. Hopefully you now understand how your movement is calculated. Speed gives you that base walk. Athletics gives you a multiplier. Encumbrance is a big deal. Encumbrance is a very big deal. If you're wearing heavy armor, you're moving very, very slow. Use feather. That's the moral of the story. Thanks for watching.